Hello and welcome back. Today is Sunday, January 18th. I have your 4 best bets for you in the NBA today. As always, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the page. We get a 6-game NBA slate. Our day kicks off here at 11 p.m. Central, depending on where you're at in the world when you're watching this. We get a prime game, the London game. They're running it back from the other day, Orlando versus Memphis. We all know the glorious rivalry between these two. Feel bad for Desmond Bane still. Revenge game, got traded away from the Grizzlies, and he does not get a homecoming game in this one. It's in England. But, hey, we get a primetime game early on to set up this beautiful sports day ahead of us. Every football game is on early. NBA is on early, and then they take a back seat. First game, again, Orlando versus Memphis, 227 over-under. Orlando, 5.5-point favorite in this one. I think it's gone down to 4.5 in this one. Ja Morant will be playing, but Ja Morant is on a minutes restriction, so buyers beware on Ja Morant on that one. Brooklyn versus Chicago is the next game, 229 over-under. Chicago, 3.5-point favorite. Who in the fucking right mind in Chicago is going to be watching this game? Who in the right mind is going to be going to this game? And I was about to say I was going to be going, but no, I'm not going to this game. It's a Bears day today. No one's going to be watching this game. I bet Ayo Dosunmu is going to follow out early just so he can go to the locker room to watch the remainder of this game. Then we get New Orleans versus Houston. Zion Williamson versus Kevin Durant. 226 over under. I think it's Houston minus 12 in this one. I put Detroit for some reason on that sheet, but I think it's Houston's minus 12 in that one. We do not know many injury news so far. I think Herb Jones is the only player ruled out in this one, but Houston takes care of business in that one. We get Charlotte versus Denver, NBA TV. I think this spread's 1.5 currently. This game's leaning towards Denver. Both teams are on back-to-backs in this one. Charlotte's doing their West Coast trip, and they've been doing a lot of games these last few games. Now they're flying into Denver. Should be a tough one for them in this one. I'll lean Denver with ease in this game where they're at home back-to-back, this mile-high altitude. But watch Concanipple stay steady. He is a monster on the road still to this day. I think he has like an 82% hit rate on 17.5 with his on the road. And he's even better on back-to-back. So Concanipple day through and through, but everyone else for Charlotte's going to have a tough game for that one. We get Portland versus Sacramento, battle of the bottom teams out in the Western Conference. I think Sacramento is the favorite in this one. Domantas Sabonis should be returning in this matchup, so we get another star player returning in this matchup in that one. And then the late game, Toronto versus the Lakers. This game's being played in L.A. Brandon Ingram revenge game. Is it still a revenge game for Brandon Ingram, even though it's like his third team at this point? But Luka Doncic should be returning. I doubt LeBron James will be playing in this one, a back-to-back. LeBron does not play back-to-backs. So it should be the Luka Puka Doncic show. Battle of L.A., the Rams, Luka's going to be looking at the game before the game, and he's going to be watching Puka Nacua going crazy on the Bears here today. But a fun 6-game NBA slate. I got 4 brand new plays, and before we jump into today's plays, we got to recap yesterday's action. And yesterday in the NBA, I'm going 3-2 in best bets overall. Should have stayed away with my added play in the comment section. Always add a play in the comment section if I like something or love something. As always, make sure to follow my Twitter at DaWiddler. I'll post it there as well. I added Jalen Duren, points, rebounds. I'm honestly not mad about it. It was a 50-point blowout. The Pacers absolutely didn't even show up. They benched everyone. The moment I tweeted out Jalen Duren, points, rebounds, Pascal Siakam, Nembhard, all were ruled out in a matter of moments before that. It was a 50-point blowout. He had a great game. He was right there, I think 22, but he didn't play the last 4 minutes of the third, didn't play the whole fourth quarter, and he still had a pretty good game overall. Klay Thompson, man, shout out to you. If you see Klay Thompson playing the Utah Jazz, just ladder him up to 3s to 6. He's hit 6 threes against the Jazz in 3 straight games against them. He is a monster against this Jazz team. Definitely keep an eye out for any time a sharpshooter plays the Jazz going forward. That's more of a mental note for me. Devin Booker, he took care of business in against the Knicks. Victor Wembanyama, him and Ant Edwards had a masterclass. It was chef's kiss. I was one of the few people that was probably watching this game. My fellow bald man, Victor Wembanyama. It was awesome. I was watching on my little iPad Wemby, Ant were just battling it out. I did see Ant won the 50-point FanDuel. He was the first player to hit the 50-point game. So I'm definitely curious to see how the profit boost goes. If you are not into gambling Twitter like I am, it was pretty interesting to see that the FanDuel did put in the description, like, let's say Anthony Edwards gets 50-plus points. Little shady that Anthony Edwards was the name in the description to get the 50-point game, and he's the first person to get the 50-point game. So a little like what is it, the tinfoil hat? That's my little tinfoil hat right there. Vegas always knows. They were like, oh, if Anthony Edwards gets 50-plus points, and he's the first one to do it for the promo. LaMelo Ball, yeah, he didn't come up short. Should have stuck to Concanipple. I had it's always Concanipple. He's the only player I should be taking on the Hornets, but I took LaMelo Ball. He had a good matchup overall. And then Denomination Nation Ayton, I guess he was ruled out before the game. Maybe it was just slick roads, just like last year, where he just didn't show up to the game. He was like, oh, the roads were too bad. I don't want to show up to the game in that one. But a 3-2 day overall. Nice week overall, but I'm not satisfied. Today's a brand new day, and let's just jump into it. For my first play for this 11 o'clock game, I was going back and forth on this. If I should make a play, if I shouldn't make a play. All yesterday I was talking about it's the Desmond Bane revenge game. Watch Desmond Bane just go absolutely nuclear just to piss me off in that one, and watch Franz Wagner just go absolutely stupid. And that stupid go absolutely just no points in this one. I like Paolo rebounds in this game, but I'm going to the power forward spot for this Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant is on a minutes restriction. Jaren Jackson Jr. looked great last time. He has a great matchup, so give me Jaren Jackson Jr., Triple J, to go over 18.5 points, come a minus 128 on FanDuel. He's gone over 7 for his last 10 games, averaging 21.6 points per game. Only 2 for his last 5 against the Orlando Magic, averaging 18.6. But a few of those games in between them, he played some weird minutes. He played 22 minutes in one of the games, 25 minutes in one of the games. But the most recent game here, he had 30-plus points in that game, playing 30-plus minutes in that one. In Orlando, they struggle versus the power forward position. These last 7 games, they allow the most points to the power forward position. These last 15 games, they allow the 9th most points. And then these last 30 games, they allow the 10th most points. So they struggle versus the power forward position. And not Ja Morant, Triple J has been great these last 5 games, scoring 21, 19, 23, 14, and 30 in the most recent game matchup. And that was against this Orlando Magic team. Ja Morant, he should be on a minutes restriction, so I'm not that worried with Ja Morant returning in this matchup. I expect him to maybe even give Jaren Jackson Jr. a few alley-oops in this one. But he's steady playing 30-plus minutes. These last 5 games, averaging 31 minutes played per game. And when Jaren Jackson Jr. plays 29-plus minutes in a game, he gets the over 61% of the time, averaging 20.3 points per game. And 2 for his last 2 against the Orlando Magic when he plays 29-plus minutes, scoring 30 and 30 in both of those games. Orlando allows the 26th most points to post-up scorers, where Jaren Jackson Jr. gets 18% of his points in this action. Orlando allows the 25th most points in the paint, where Jaren Jackson Jr. gets 41% of his shots from. So overall, a nice matchup in this game. Again, Orlando is 25th in points allowed in the paint. So in the paint, in the lane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. gets 41% of his shots in that spot. And power forwards versus Orlando have had some massive games. Jaren Jackson Jr. the other night, 30. Zion, 22. Dominic Barlow, 11. Bagley, 12. Pascal Siakam, I would say a similar player to Triple J. Pascal Siakam, 34. And then he played him again, and guess what he had in that one? 24 in that one. P. Will, 15. Peyton Watson, 15. Kevin Love, 16. OG Anunoby, 24. Andrew Wiggins, 19. And then Bam Adebayo, another similar player, 24 points in that matchup. I have him projected here at 20-plus points. Early on basketball, I'm going to be rooting on Jaren Jackson Jr. to go over 18.5 points, give him a minus 128 on FanDuel. And then that's also PSA. If you're in Illinois, I know FanDuel was doing the fees for every bet you place. Today, they're waiving all the fees. I assume it's because the Bears are playing and they want your money for that. So, hey, FanDuel, the fee is waived for you today. Jump into the Chicagoland area. Bulls, Nets, no Michael Porter Jr. in this matchup. And Buzelis I'm back. I'm going back to it. Last game, he hit 15-plus points, and he shot pretty poorly against the Brooklyn Nets. Now at home here, he's been steady overall these last 10 games. So give me modest Buzelis to score 15-plus points, give me -138 on DraftKings. He's a great matchup here. These last 7 games, the Nets, they allow the 3rd most points to the power forward position. So recently, they've been struggling versus power forwards. He's gone over 8 for his last 10 games overall, averaging 17.2 points per game. 91% hit rate without the DaWiddler in the lineup, averaging 17.7 points per game. With the last 5 games, he scored 20, 15, 19, 7, and 20 in the most recent matchup here. And he's gone over 2 for his last 4 against the Brooklyn Nets, averaging 13.7 points per game, scoring 20, 16, 14, and then 15 in the most recent matchup. But the last time they just played, he shot 4 for 15 from the field, shot poorly, and still got to that 15-point mark. I think he could do that again here today. He shot a few free throws. I think today he makes a few more baskets in this one because Brooklyn is 22nd at points allowed at the net. So those 2K hot zones right in front of the net. Modest Buzelis gets 46% of his shots in front of the net. So he has a nice 2K hot zone coming to this game. Brooklyn allows the 28th most spot-up shooting points, and Modest Buzelis gets 23% of his points in the spot-up motion. And Brooklyn is 26th versus transition scorers, where Modest gets 31% of his points in transition. So we love that overall. Power forwards versus Brooklyn have had pretty good games recently. Modest, 15. Zion, 25. Najee Marshall, 22. Aldama, 15. Collins, 16. Paolo, 30. Peyton Watson, 23. Aaron Gordon, 20 points, all within the last 2 weeks. Here, I have them projected here at 17-plus points. Brooklyn, these last 7 games allow the 3rd most points to the power forward position. They struggle versus these transition scorers, where Modest is one of the best in the league overall. So it can be Modest Buzelis to score 15-plus points, give me -138 on DraftKings. Jumping to my 3rd play here in the Charlotte-Denver on NBA TV. Should be a pretty good game here. Or is it not on? I don't think this game's on NBA TV. I don't know why I have that written. I don't believe this is, but I'm sticking to the home team in this one. Charlotte on a back-to-back, playing their West Coast trip, now going to Denver. I think this is going to be a tough game for the Charlotte Hornets in this one, and I think Peyton Watson is set up for great success in this one. So give me Peyton Watson to go over 18.5 points, give me -118 on FanDuel. The Hornets, they allowed the 3rd most points to the power forward position. The Hornets, these last 15 games, allowed the 4th most points to the power forward position. So they've been struggling versus the power forward position overall. And Peyton Watson, since Nikola Jokic has been ruled out, has just stepped up his game to another level. 9 for his last 10, averaging 23.6 points per game. 100% hit rate at home without Jokic, averaging 21 points per game overall. He's only played 2 back-to-backs this season, so if that's your only concern, it would be a back-to-back this season. But both of those games were back in November, where he had 16 and 15 in those, and those were both with Nikola Jokic in the lineup. Now Nikola Jokic is out of the lineup, so I think you'll have a better game in this one. He's only 0 for his last 1 against the Hornets this season, where he had 10 points in that game. But again, that game was all the way back in November with Nikola Jokic in the lineup here. Charlotte allows the 24th most points at the net, so those 2K hot zones right in front of the net, where Peyton Watson gets 40% of his shots from. So we love that overall. Power forwards versus Charlotte have had some pretty big games recently. Draymond Green last night, 20 points. Jake La Riviera, 18. I think I butchered that. 18. Batum, 7. Pascal Siakam, 30. Kuzma, 18. Giannis, 30. Bobby P, 20. Bobby P again, 25. And then Jalen Johnson, 43. I have him projected here at 20-plus points in this game. So I think Peyton Watson set up for another great game without Nikola Jokic. So give me Peyton Watson to go over 18.5 points, coming -118 on FanDuel. I jump into my 4th and final play of the day in this Lakers-Toronto game. Luka Doncic returns. I think Luka has a great game overall, but man, I am not touching that 34.5 over-under. That's just absurd over-under game as I get closer and closer to the microphone. Not the microphone, closer and closer to the camera in that one, but I think Brandon Ingram here, I think he has a great game. He's had a few lackluster games in a row. Now he gets a great matchup versus the LA Lakers here in this game. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think Brandon Ingram is going to be used a lot in this one in the mid-range. It's going to be Brandon Ingram, BI, to go over 23.5 points, coming -114 On DraftKings, he has a great matchup. The Lakers, they allow the third most points and the eighth most threes to the small forward position. The Lakers, these last 15 games, allowed the most points and the fourth most threes. And then the Lakers, these last 7 games, allowed the second most points and the seventh most threes to the small forward position. So this should be a great matchup for Brandon Ingram, where he's only gotten this over 1 for his last 2. With the most recent game this season, he had 20 points in that game, but he shot extremely poor in that one. I think he took 22-plus shots, only made 7 of them, 0 for 6 from 3. He had a rough shooting game in that one, and he's had some rough shooting games these last few ones, only over 5 for his last 10, averaging 22.5 points per game, with the last 5 games him having 19, 6, 17, 30, and 19. But I think he makes it up in this plus matchup here today. Lakers are 24th versus transition scoring, where Brandon Ingram gets 15% of his shots. They've been struggling versus small forwards. Lakers allow, again, the third most points and the eighth most threes to the small forward position. And then small forwards recently have all to massive games. So strap in. This is a lot of players that have gotten their overs recently. Man, that's all I wrote. Sidney, I think he was on the Trailblazers, had 14. Con Knipple, 19. Creechy, 11. Crisper, 19. DeMar DeRozan, 32. AJ Green, 11. Keldon Johnson, my fellow bald man, 27. Trey Murphy, 42. Jaden Wells, 23. DeMar again, 22. Dylan Brooks, 25. Kawhi, the Claw, Leonard, 32. Sensabaugh, 13. And Jaylen Brown, 30. They've been struggling versus small forwards all the time recently. I think in this close game, they're going to lean on Brandon Ingram. I've projected here 25-plus points here. It's going to be BI, Brandon Ingram, to go over 23.5 points, coming minus 114 on DraftKings. And those are my 4 best bets for you in the NBA today. As always, let me know down below what's your best bet on this Sunday Funday. I always love to tell you guys in the comment section. Massive Bears game today. Wearing the lucky sweatshirt here today. Bear the fuck down. Massive game here today in Chicagoland. Cannot wait for this game. Going to my friend's place. We're all going to be pre-game and we're tailgating, and then we're going to be enjoying it in his living room. I'm more of a watch the game at home versus going to the matchup. But a fun NBA slate ahead of us here today. Brandon Ingram over 23. That should be a fun late-night game once the NFL has calmed down. You get to watch Luka and Brandon Ingram just score a bunch of points. Peyton Watson here versus the Hornets over 18.5. Buzelis ball, 15-plus points. He's going to do it for Caleb Williams. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. here for us in an hour and 13 minutes or hour 20 minutes. He'll take care of business for us here early on. Hopefully having a wonderful Sunday fun day. Keep on smiling, and I will see you in the next one.